You find yourself sitting on the couch and you look down to the other end and you see your partner down there and you're thinking, who are you again? Well, that's kind of what we're here to talk about. We are the Old Married Couple Trying New Things podcast, and my name's Stacy. No, her name's Stacy. I haven't been drinking, I promise. My name's Mike. Her name's Stacy. See, I don't know where I end and she starts. That's how long we've been together. Like 28 years worth of marriage. My point is, kids have moved out. You're trying to figure out what you're doing with the rest of forever, right? You've got all that time. Yeah. Everything you were, every fiber of my being was defined by the children I raised. And now they're gone, and I'm trying to figure out all of it.
Right. I mean, yeah, we've got a lot more time. We've got a lot more money. I was surprised to find out how much time we spent with the kids. Yeah, just
everything.
And I think most people experience that same thing if you're raising kids, and it's hard to keep a relationship together. And we've had friends who have, unfortunately, decided, I don't really know you or maybe even like you anymore. So, So bye.
Well, and I think that's almost more common than not. I mean, really.
Yeah. So we didn't want that to happen to us. So we're out there trying new things and trying to figure out what we want to do. And we thought we'd do a podcast about it.
Well, and the podcast is one of those new things. It's something we can do together, shared interest, a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I will say our podcast, by the way, for those of you who listened to any of the first 4 episodes or all of them, we appreciate you for hanging in there because the audio quality was terrible. We bought some new equipment, and I'm a lot happier. Kind of an audiophile from all those years of radio, so it was bugging the heck out of me. Maybe not Stacy as much, but the sound quality difference is much better now.
So, yeah, we've got some new equipment and new features today for our podcast. So, lots of new things going on. Should be a good one. Should be fun. First thing, though, I do want to say hey, and we appreciate you to our friend Randy Bartoe.
Oh, yeah, Randy, thank you for sharing. He shared a link on Facebook to our podcast. I think it was the first share that I really saw, and I really appreciate that. If you hear clacking in the background, you might not because the new equipment cuts out a lot of the background noise, but our dog picked the moment we started recording to start whining and freaking out and needing attention, and then he just came in here, toenails clacking on the hardwood floor. So that, if you hear that background noise, that's what it is.
Yeah, we are pet parents.
But anyway, back to Randy. Sorry, Randy, our dog took away from your moment. Thank you for sharing the podcast. We appreciate you. Also, we got a written review on the podcast.
That was exciting.
That was exciting. It was a positive review, which I think is important. So feel free, if you get a chance, just write us a quick little review if you like the podcast. Even if you don't like it, but you like us and you feel pity, we'd take that as well.
Right. And, we might give you a little shout out as well. We're going to add that to our list of new features. But let's talk about today's podcast real quick. We are going to debut a couple new features. One, I'm going to talk about new recipes that I'm trying, that we're trying, but I'm going to talk about them. And Mike is going to share with you some really cool life hacks. So that'll be fun too. And today we're also talking about the third leg of our California journey, our trip to Mendocino.
Right, so, which was incredible.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute.
But first we got to talk about this recipe of Stacy's because, oh my God, she made the best cheesecake I've ever tasted.
It was really good. And
it was phenomenal.
And I just want to share a little bit about my cheesecake making. I've always used just a standard recipe out of Better Homes and Gardens, and I love cheesecake. If I'm going to have dessert, I'm going to, it's going to be because there's cheesecake.
Right.
So,
and I don't know if you noticed, I'm just a food person in general. You say cake, and I'm a fat kid, so we already know where this is going.
So, I decided I wanted to try a more authentic Italian cheesecake. So I found this recipe, and it's just on allrecipes.com, but on our blog, on our website, omcbroadcasting.com, I did put a link up, so you can find it there. But this recipe, it's not just cream cheese, it's cream cheese and sour cream and ricotta cheese. So it's a really good, moist cheesecake. It's not too heavy, but it's just heavy enough. So I thought it was really, really good. But I want to tell you, the recipe itself doesn't have a crust included. So I was reading down to the comments, and I do want to just mention this guy who calls himself Chef Dan. Chef Dan had left a comment that he had tried the cheesecake, but he made just a simple graham cracker crust for it. So I went ahead and I followed his advice on that. And then he also had changed the baking for it a little bit. He had modified that. And I would have to say I would do that the next time, because he said he did it because his cracked on the top. You know, it just kind of develops a little crack. And if you were taking it somewhere, that would not be pleasing. So, yeah.
I've never looked at a cheesecake long enough to notice a crack in the top of it. I'm just saying, if it sits there long enough that you're going to stare at it to appreciate the way it looks, you're a skinny person, and I don't trust you.
Yeah, there's that. And also, ours wasn't really going to sit around long enough for anyone to notice that. I mean, we were just cutting right into it. But
was there a crack on the top of yours?
There was.
Was there?
Yeah.
See, I had no idea. No clue.
But I think next time, just for aesthetics and to see if Chef Dan is correct, I would go ahead and follow his baking directions. He also said he tried it a second time, and he, instead of using 16 ounces of sour cream, he used only 8, and then he added an extra 8 ounces of cream cheese. And he said it was wonderful. I'm sure it was, but I really liked the lightness that the sour cream added, because I was trying to get away from something just so thick and so dense.
Right.
So I don't know that I would do that, but those are variations.
I don't think you need to change that recipe at all.
No, it was really good.
Where did you find the recipe?
Just on allrecipes.com. It's amazing what you can find on the internet, isn't it?
That is actually a good source of recipes.
Yeah. So,
so good.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was great. We enjoyed it, and we ate it all.
And a lot. You made a little strawberry compote for on top of it, which is way more simple than it sounds when you use the word compote. You're like, what is that? But it's just strawberry and lemon juice, right? Pretty much.
And sugar.
Just a little bit of sugar.
Yeah. And you just cook it. Yeah, it's super simple. But it was a very delicious dessert. So that is my recipe share for today.
So if you want the recipe, Stacy will talk about it and do a little blog post about it, right?
Yeah, I did a blog post.
Oh, you did already?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And put a link to the recipe
I did.
on the blog post?
I
All
did.
by yourself? High five.
Stop.
Okay. Stop. She said. Stop.
Okay, so we're done with the recipe,
Okay.
and I want to talk about Mendocino, California, because I have to share that this was a highlight for me. This was a big deal for me going to Mendocino.
It was. You were beaming about it from the moment. Well, first of all, it was all you talked about from the moment you found out about this particular bed and breakfast. We say, what was it, 2 nights at the bed and breakfast?
We did, yes.
In Mendocino. When you found out about that bed and breakfast, it was pretty much all you could talk about until I said, well, let's just go ahead and book it and do that. And then you were all super excited that I even said that, and you booked it right away before we booked anything else. Like, we booked that 2-night stay, and then planned the rest of the vacation around it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, no, you were jazzed.
And why? Why, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. Mendocino, California was the town that they used as the fictional town Cabot Cove, Maine, in the TV series Murder, She Wrote. I have been a fangela, which is a fan of Angela Lansbury, ever since I was a child and saw Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. I love her.
I'm tied. I'm hooked on Fangela right now. I'm now stuck in the moment of you saying the word Fangela. Is that a thing? Like, people actually use that terminology?
I do. I don't know, but
Angela,
I am.
Restraining order from Angela Lansbury is incoming. It's going to
Stop
any moment now.
Anyway, absolutely love her. I absolutely loved Murder, She Wrote. Fun fact, our oldest, Hillary, was born on a Sunday evening, actually. So we were, cleaned up and in the room in time to watch Murder, She Wrote. We watched it together when she was just a couple hours old. But anyway, I just love that little town, and I wanted to see it. So Mendocino was used for the beach shots,
all the exterior shots.
Yeah, the town shots, and the home that was used for the exterior of Jessica Fletcher's house is this little bed and breakfast there called Blair House. And we stayed there, and it was wonderful. But there's so much else to Mendocino as well. So I think I want to, now that I've talked about how geeked I was just about going and why, I think we should start with that drive up the coast.
That would definitely be an excellent thing to do, I think, Well, it was an excellent. So if you haven't had a chance, rent a car, drive out there yourself, whatever you do, but you've got to drive the Coastal Highway.
Is that called Highway 1?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's the California Coastal Highway from San Francisco. Just take it up north. You'll thank me later. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was just beautiful. It was hilly and curvy and scary at times.
Sometimes you thought you might fall off the edge. I mean, it's pretty tight. Narrow.
Yeah, and some of those curves, my grandma would have called those kiss your ass curves, and
right.
I don't even know what that means, but I know what those are.
What it means is kiss your ass goodbye is what those curves mean. I mean, it's, very, very tight, very, very curvy. You're not going to make good time on that trip, but you're not going to want to. You want to drive it slow and really enjoy the moment. It's that kind of beautiful.
Yeah, there were cliffs and the ocean on one side, and then you'd have trees and, lots of watch for cattle, watch for deer, watch for, I think, goats.
We saw goats on. Sheep, watch for sheep. I saw a watch for sheep sign. Watch for falling rocks, obviously. But it
just
holy cow,
breathtaking.
You'll never see. Well, I mean, outside of, and I haven't been there, but watching, seeing photos of shoreline in Scotland and in areas of England, that same sort of feel. I mean, just incredible. Somebody should have told me. I'd have been there a lot sooner than now.
Yeah, it was just amazing. And every time you went around a curve and saw a new view, you thought, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful view. And then you went around the next curve and
it was even better.
Oh, this is a more beautiful view. Yeah.
Yeah, just amazing.
Yeah.
So we took a ton of great photos. Thankfully, there was no one really behind us driving fast. Anyway, do not get on that road if you think you want to get from point A to point B and you're not going to enjoy the moment, because it's not a fast driving road.
No. And
I mean, if I lived there, it would probably be frustrating, all the tourists driving 5 miles an hour looking at everything.
Yeah, I'm sure, but it was so beautiful.
Right.
It was just wonderful, and we will put up some photos on the website as well.
Definitely. We've got tons of them to do. Might even try to throw some photos into this video. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I say that because our video, we fixed the audio. The video's still a little iffy.
But we're working on it, so one thing at a time.
Right.
But anyway, so that's our coastal drive, and it was really beautiful. And it's not, when I think about it, it's not that long of a drive. How far do you think it was? We started in San Francisco, and we went from San Francisco to Sonoma,
right?
The Sonoma Valley area.
It was like from San Francisco to Sonoma, that was
like an hour and a half or something.
Yeah, well,
wasn't it?
It took us a little bit of time. I don't think it was quite an hour and a half, maybe an hour. But I think it took us longer than it was. It was probably 35, 40 miles.
Yeah, just
into Sonoma.
Yeah, just not a very long drive. And then this drive, it took longer because, again, driving slowly, and we did stop a couple of times to take photos and stuff. But
again, not super long. Probably
No.
roughly that same distance, maybe 45 miles. We drove.
Yeah.
But we probably took 2.5 hours to do it.
Probably. But the point is, they're not far away from each other.
Right.
Pardon me.
I'd like to do that in the summer months and maybe do it in a convertible. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I could see doing that for sure. Yeah, when it's warmer. I was surprised by the temperature difference from here in New Orleans, and there it was the breeze.
It's very
makes
cool
a difference.
there. I mean, I don't think it even felt like it was 70 at any point when we were there, just because of the breeze off of the ocean and stuff. It was pretty much 60s the whole time.
Yeah. But it was, comfortable, nice, sunny, breezy.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, a lot of fun.
And certainly no rain.
Yeah.
It's very dry there.
So we drove up the coast and we got into Mendocino, And for those of you who are Murder, She Wrote fans, we drove into downtown, and you can tell right away the areas that were used for filming or for background. And we went to Blair House, and we stayed there for 2 days, like we said, and just got a good look around. There's a Hill House of Mendocino is a little place where you can stay as well, and it's familiar. If you watch Murder, She Wrote, you'll recognize it as Hill House of Cabot Cove. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and again, for me, that was a big deal sort of trip. But if you're looking for like nightlife or craziness, you're not going to find it there. No.
So you got to understand, I mean, this is a very small town feel. So our people, the people we know who are listening to this or watching this who are from northern Michigan, it's that kind of feel. I mean, that town is very...
It's a small town.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mendocino itself felt like Beulah. I mean, really, in terms of size, it wasn't very large. But it just amazing little town.
Yeah, really, really cute, really nice little restaurant and bar in the town. We did go up to, there's a lighthouse a ways up the road.
Yep.
We drove up to that. Fun little story about that. We saw, you have to park quite a ways away and then walk down. That was probably half a mile, maybe
half a mile, yeah.
Yeah, but we got to see sea otters, and we saw deer, and I'm trying to remember what else we saw, but...
Oh, I know what else we saw.
Well, yes. Mike saw a coyote. And we were walking back to the car, and he said, "There's a coyote over there." And I said, "Yikes." And so then he said, "It's okay. I think it's just a mother protecting her babies, and as long as we don't go near her, we're probably fine." So I'm like, okay, but I'm still a little nervous, and we're walking, towards the car, and the car's like half a mile away, and it's open field, so there's nowhere to like run and hide.
It would just be try to outrun the coyote. Oh no, I know where she's going.
And it's not like I'm going to run anyway, but, because I don't run. But, so we heard behind us, all of a sudden, this little, like dog footsteps, You can hear them kind of click, 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 the four paws, and I really started to sweat. I was nervous. I was really scared. And I slowly turned around. It was just some guy walking a little Datsun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was the story
nothing.
she opted to tell. I was afraid you were going to tell the story about how when you expressed your concern about the coyote, and I said, I'm not too worried about it because I don't have to outrun the coyote. I only have to outrun you. You didn't like that very much when I said that.
I didn't, and I still don't, surprisingly.
I thought that was the story you were going to tell, so I'm like, I just told them myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but it was wonderful seeing the wildlife, and it's just beautiful. So we very much enjoyed it. We drove into Fort Bragg, which is a little town just up the road, and they have a marina there, and some other fun stuff. Oh, we picked up sea glass at the beach.
A lot of sea glass at the beach, and that's actually kind of fun to do. Although there's not, I guess back in the day there used to be huge pieces of sea glass there, and now it's so picked through. They're little itty bitty fragments.
Yeah,
but it's still fun.
And the beach is just wonderful. I really love the waves crashing from the ocean. I just love them. I took multiple videos, and sometimes I'll just watch them for fun. Multiple videos of just waves crashing. But I'll have Mike put one up on the website in case anyone else really enjoys that.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. So it was great. It was just a really cool trip. Start to finish. And we've talked about this particular trip. I mean, this is what, the third episode?
Third episode. We broke it up into three.
Talking about different aspects of this trip. When you put it all together, it was definitely one of my favorites of our vacation. And it's not like it was. I mean, there was cost involved, obviously, for stays and and food. Probably more cost for food and wine than for anything else because that's what we like to do, right? But But no, it wasn't an expensive trip by any means, and it was still very awesome just to get out and see something new, and that's kind of how I like to vacation now. I'm not necessarily a theme park guy, and don't get me wrong, I don't hate theme parks. I'm sure we'll go to Disney and Universal Studios again at some point because we enjoy that.
Right.
But
right. But this was just really fun, and I enjoyed, in San Francisco, we saw the sea lions, and in Mendocino, we got to see the sea otters and of course, the deer, and we didn't really see the coyote too much, but...
No, I did. Did you even see it?
No, I couldn't.
The sound? Yeah.
I couldn't see it, but you said it was there,
yeah,
and that was enough for me.
There was a little den there, and then I saw the coyote, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
But... we made it back to the car safely, so yay!
It was fun.
It was. They also, I guess, during the migration, they get gray whales in Mendocino that you can see. We weren't there at that time, but I wish we had been. I would have loved that.
Yeah, to go get out and do some whale watching, and maybe even get on a charter and get out on a boat and go see it.
Yeah,
that would be a blast to do too.
But anyway, so that was our trip to Mendocino, and.
Whole trip was perfect. I mean, honestly. It might have been the company, because I have a good travel partner who likes to do a lot of stuff.
That's true.
But because we did a lot of stuff, a lot of hiking, a lot of climbing the rocks on the shoreline. And
we did.
Yeah, I kind of felt like a kid again until the next morning.
Right. We're like, oh my gosh, I can't get up.
But then we'd be fine later on, and we'd do it again. And then the next morning we were like,
Yeah. But, so, if you were going to rate this,
rate the trip,
just the Mendocino, the Mendocino portion of that trip, because that's all we're talking about today. 1 to 10. 10 is the most fabulous thing you've ever done. 1 is I'll never do that again. Where would you fall on that?
9.5.
9.5. Good. I'm going to say the same thing, 9.5. That is exactly where I am.
Where did your 0.5 come from that took it away from a 10?
I think that there's probably something even better out there. It's just that thought that there's always something even better.
I get it. Well, I mean, taking that into account, I might shave a little bit more. That trip in itself, for what it is, I would definitely go back. The bed and breakfast, I know, meant the world to you, and therefore it meant the world to me. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't know if I'd stay in a bed and breakfast
again.
Typically, like, I mean, like, that was a one-off for us, I feel like, because
I think so too. I'm not really a bed and breakfast sort of person, but
and the crazy lady who was running the place.
I loved her.
She was nice enough, but
you stop.
Okay, I'll stop.
I don't like that. She was. I thought she made it even better.
Okay. I mean, she was helpful, but I don't know. It was a weird vibe staying at a bed and breakfast for me. I'm not.
Yeah, well, we don't do bed and breakfast a lot. So anyway,
right.
But beyond that, staying at the place that was used as the exterior of the house for Jessica Fletcher was huge for me.
It was beautiful. I mean, it was a nice house. It was a cool spot. It was.
And I got to wander all around the garden and say, "Oh, I'm visiting Aunt Jess," and this is, Aunt Jess planted these, and it was a lot of fun from that aspect. And I recreated some of the scenes from from Murder, She Wrote, from the opening, like where she's waving and stuff,
Like I said, I'm waiting for that restraining order from Angela Lansbury any moment. Any minute now. Here it comes.
All right, so that was Mendocino. It was just, to me, it was just great. Right. Would you like to tell us your life hack now?
Oh, life hack time. I love life hacks.
It's life hack time.
And this is one I've known about. So I was researching life hacks. I'm like, what do I want to talk about? Are there any out there that really stand out to me? And this one it popped up. It kind of reminded me. I already knew this one. Kindling. Like when you're camping or, you need to start a fire. If you don't have any kindling, easy life hack, Doritos.
Really?
They burn fast. They burn hot. If you crush those suckers up, it's almost like flash powder.
So if you don't crush them up, though, because they're just a little triangle.
Yeah, they'll burn pretty quick, but they burn hot. So, like, you could just hold a lighter to a Dorito, and it holds a flame pretty well and will start a fire.
Wow.
Which means they're probably shit for you to eat. Sorry, Doritos. We just lost a sponsor.
Well, thankfully they hadn't sponsored
Doritos
us,
never
so.
going to sponsor us, right? But those things burn like crazy. So it's an easy way if you need to like start a campfire and you don't have anything dry, small that'll catch fast. You got a bag of stale Doritos? Perfect. Kids got sand in a bag of Doritos? Hold on to it. You can start the fire later with them.
So does that work with all flavors?
You know, I don't know. I probably only tried the nacho cheese flavored, but I bet some flavors might burn faster. I'll bet the Cool Ranch Doritos burn super hot because those things can't be natural. That flavor's different.
What about a loaded nacho fire?
We'll have to find out. Now we're going to do a whole podcast at some point on how fast each flavor of Dorito burns. But no, I mean, that's actually an easy hack. A bag of Doritos you can find just about anywhere. You can easily start a fire with it. So that's a little...
Okay.
Not that I plan on camping again, maybe ever. But if I had to, I know how.
Okay. There you go. Fantastic. Yeah. Do you have anything else that you want to share with us, or are we good?
I think we're, kind of to that point. What are we talking about? Have we given any thought to what we're doing next week?
Well, we've got a really exciting month coming up because we've got podcasts coming up that are going to talk about the Van Gogh experience. If you haven't done that, the immersive experience.
That's a blast.
We're going to talk about some axe throwing. If you have an opportunity to do that, I would say, hey, give it a shot.
Axe throwing.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about an escape room. So we've got a lot going on. And we're going to talk about an improv class. So
and that's
fun
been
stuff.
A ton of fun for us doing the improv class.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a good experience. So,
and there's some great new things happening in the New Orleans area in terms of comedy and improv. So we'll get you up to speed on that, just in case you're interested and you're in the area or you're planning to come down. But in the meantime, thanks for listening to the Old Married Couple podcast, Trying New Things podcast. It is a production of OMC Broadcasting. Be sure to subscribe to the Old Married Couple Trying New Things podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And check out our website at omcbroadcasting.com. Thanks.
Bye, y'all.